Hello, and welcome to the Java with Otava video series. Today, we'll be talking about cloud infrastructure preparedness. My name is Mike Caldwell, and I'm a senior solution architect with Otava. Grab a cup of coffee, and let's jump right in. Our agenda today covers three main points. First, we'll talk about why it's important to pay attention to our cloud infrastructure from a security standpoint. Second, we'll review some facts and statistics to validate the threats we face. And finally, we'll cover some recommendations on preparedness. So why should we pay attention to cloud infrastructure preparedness? Well, let's define the concept. Preparedness is all about making sure our cloud infrastructure can mitigate threats from a variety of external risks. Ideally, we want to prevent all possible threats, but in the real world, we know that we have to design our infrastructure around the assumption that something will happen. Attacks from hackers, malware, ransomware can pose serious ramifications to your business, so it's critically important to recover as quick as possible. I wanted to present some industry statistics around malware and ransomware, and as you can see, we still have a lot of room to improve as a country. I want to highlight the last sentence. The average cost of downtime is $5,600 per minute. That's insane. I also want to highlight that ransomware does not affect a specific vertical or industry. All companies are affected, maybe not equally, but we all share in the risk of ransomware. I'm going to cover three main areas where we can improve preparedness. The first, we'll talk about network segmentation. Second, we'll discuss encryption. And third, we'll discuss disaster recovery and off-premise backups. Let's talk about segmentation. The goal of segmentation is to separate our public-facing servers from our private-facing ones. In a typical use case, we'd separate our web servers, which are publicly facing, from our backend databases they rely on. When we implement segmentation, we introduce a firewall in between those two servers, allowing us to restrict what type of traffic, if any at all, can flow between them. Let's go over an example. So in our example here, we have two servers. One is a web server that's exposed to the internet, and the other is a backend database. The servers are on a separate virtual network with the firewall deployed between them. We've set up a firewall rule to only allow SQL traffic between the two servers. All other traffic is blocked. In this case, let's assume that we've discovered that our web server has malware on it. Due to the fact that we've segmented our network properly, malware was unable to spread from the web server to the database server because it could not make the jump through the firewall between the virtual networks. Let's move on to encryption. Encryption is an essential part of hardening our environments, right? So most organizations store very sensitive information such as healthcare records or credit card numbers. So if our first line of defense fails and our systems break down, our information stolen, encryption prevents that data from being read or used. You'll want to make sure that you're encrypting your data at rest and in transit. Encryption at rest, we want to think about physical encryption. So SANs, hard drives that are self-encrypting. That way, if somebody comes in and takes a hard drive and runs it out of the data center, your data is protected because it's unusable to that person. With encryption in transit, we want to think about using technologies such as SSL VPNs or IPsec VPN tunnels to encrypt the data we're sending over the internet, either to the public cloud, a private cloud provider, or a different data center. Let's move into talking about DR and backups. So, one of the most important aspects of any cloud preparedness strategy is going to be time to recovery. In other words, how long does it take to be back up and running from a security or disaster event? At Otava, we have two measurements. We have RPO and RTO. RPO being, how old is your data at the point of recovery, and RTO being the time it takes to restore services in DR. Earlier we covered how each minute of downtime could cost the average company $5,600 a minute, right? In order to reduce the financial impact of that event or any event, we need a DR product that can provide us with a real-time replication of our data and an extremely quick recovery. In addition, especially from infections such as malware or ransomware, we want a DR product to have what's called a point-in-time recovery. You might have heard of it as a journal history. This allows organizations to fail over to exactly the point in time before an infection occurred. It could be as quick as a couple seconds before that infection occurred, to allow you to restore to your DR environment without any risk of further infection. For more information on disaster recovery services, please watch the Disaster Recovery Java with Otava video that covers the subject in greater detail. Working together with a DR solution, off-premise backup is the other half of a business continuity strategy. While DR is meant for quick recovery, it's not designed for long-term retention. This is where backup comes in. It's where they work in concert together. It's important to have multiple copies of your backup data in different locations. If you only store your data backups in the same location as your production environment, what happens when your production environment, is lost from fire or, act of God? Or what if malware infects the production data center and deletes all of your local backups? Well, any well-designed backup strategy is going to consist of 3 different copies of your backup data. 2 of those copies are 2 different types of media, so disk and tape, with 1 of those 3 copies being stored off-site at either a different location or a third-party provider like Otava. This is known as the 3-2-1 rule in backup. It's important that your backup technology includes a way to protect that off-site copy against ransomware. So at Otava, we offer a Cloud Connect service that's powered by Veeam, and it allows you to store your off-site copy in our cloud, and we provide you a 7-day ransomware protection for that data we store for you in case of attack. Want to show an example of a Veeam implementation at Otava. So we follow the 3-2-1 rule. For this scenario, imagine the left pane is your data center. You're using Veeam today, and you are protecting your virtual environment and your physical environment with Veeam. Your first copy of data is that Veeam on disk. You are then copying that data to tape, and perhaps you're shipping that tape to a different location. But what we recommend is also having a second copy, or your third copy would be a second copy of disk backups, which you would store with Otava. And with that third copy, we can restore to our cloud. We could restore back to your on-premise or anywhere you'd like us to restore. Finally, it's important to just go into a little bit more detail about why backup and disaster recovery are different and why you need both. So as we talked about a little bit, backup focuses on long-term retention of data. It is not meant to restore quickly. In the flip side, DR is meant for a quick recovery, but typically it only has 12 to 48 hours of history for you to restore to. If we're restoring from backup, right, your data could be as old as 24 hours if we're doing daily backups, and that's not acceptable in a lot of cases. So we need both solutions to have a successful strategy, and why both are important to preparedness in case all of our other security designs fail and we have to fail over to DR. So with that being said, that's the end of my topic. I wanted to let you know how Otava can help. So as you can see on the screen, our main business is hybrid cloud, DR, backup. We do co-location. But we also do cloud readiness assessments, professional services, and a whole lot more. So if any of this interests you, if you have anything we can help with, we'd love to have a conversation. So you can reach us at the number shown on the screen. You can also email hello@otava.com. It's been a pleasure to go over this with you. I thank you for watching, and I hope to talk to you soon. Have a great day.